Is the V word for the sea illness the mark of the beast from the Bible? Hey, I'm Dee, and today I would like to talk about this topic because it ties in very well with what's going on right now in 2021. Now, explanation of the terminology. V word is what you're supposed to be signing up and getting, usually twice, and it's basically to prevent the spread and occurrence of the sea illness. So it's 2021, we know what it means. If I say these words as I'm supposed to say, like in normal life, this video would definitely be flushed down the memory hole of the internet. Now, before we start, make sure that you subscribe my channel, click the bell notification, like the video, all the good karma stuff. Now let's talk about the book of Revelation. So the book of Revelation is the last book of the Bible. It's in the New Testament, and it's basically about the end of the times as per Christian vision. Basically, it's all about the apocalypse. And it's a vision, and there are a lot of things described which are kind of, which are really not comfortable to read. For example, that there will be 4 horses of apocalypse and 7 trumpets, and then eventually what's going to be required, the system of the beast will rise up, and everybody is going to be required to take the mark of the beast on their forehead or on their hand, and without this mark of the beast, they will, nobody will be able to buy or sell, aka participate in normal day-to-day life, like economically. And what's even worse, that the mark of the beast system who will be hunting down basically those people who are not going to be interested in submission to it, and they're going to execute them by cutting off their heads, basically guillotine. And that they're going to be 144,000 people, and that are going to be sealed by God, who are not going to take the mark of the beast. And yeah, so that's basically in a nutshell. The reason why I want to talk about this is because this V word resembles what's being described in the book of Revelation as the mark of the beast. And the reason why I know about this is because I used to be a Christian for 10 years, and during that time I've read the Bible a bunch of times, and I've paid close attention to the last book, the book of Revelation. And it's always been kind of like, it's scary to read and think about it, so you kind of put it on the back burner mentally and move on with your life. But yeah, so from my experience as a Christian, the way they interpret these scriptures, it can be in different ways. So if you go like into more conservative churches or circles, right, they would be interpreting it as is, that there are going to be literally, for example, 144,000 people who are going to be saved from the mark of the beast, and that they're going to be literally setting up like stations of execution where they put on guillotines and execute people. And they believe that there will be, like 4 horses, and you will be able to actually hear trumpets and stuff like that. So it's a very little way of interpretation. Another way, which is more popular among broader Christian audience, is where they interpret it as kind of an allegory, but keep a lot of elements from this reality. For example, they would say, yeah, you are not going to see 4 little horsemen marching across the sky, right? Or that you will not hear the trumpets, but you are still going to get execution stations where they're going to cut off people's heads for not taking the mark of the beast. And they're also usually sticking that to the idea that the mark of the beast is going to be only on the forehead and on the hand. And then there is a way to interpret it like I personally interpret it. And not only the Christian scriptures, but any religious scriptures by any religion. And that's that thinking that's really a representation of the idea, meaning that there's going to be, yes, some sort of a system where they say you have to identify yourself with this, whatever the mark of the beast is, but it doesn't have to necessarily be on your forehead or on your right hand, or that they're not going to be execution guillotines and stuff like that. It could be, but it doesn't have to. it's basically a representation of the idea, and I certainly don't think that I will see some mysterious four horsemen of apocalypse showing up in the sky in some other, like extreme things like 144,000 only, and nobody else is going to survive this, right? You either take the mark of the beast, you get your head cut off, or you basically survive it. And you were one of the 144,000. And I don't believe in that number. I just think that there's going to be a limited number. And that's basically the idea. Why do I think that the V word for the sea illness is sort of a mark of the beast type of thing? So here are a few things. Right now, for example, all around the world, the authorities are discussing the idea of having a united system set up worldwide where people get issued electronic passports in order for them to get on the aircraft. They would love to expand that to, the other means of transportation, but for now they're discussing the aircraft, air travel, and they're discussing events. So I read some articles about going to certain sports teams in the US. I don't follow American football, but basically there was a football team, I think it was football or basketball, I don't know. They're like, yeah, you cannot come to our games unless you have the V word, and basically an ID that proves that. So in other countries, like in the UK, they're discussing it for being able to go to pubs and stuff. And events generally, like festivals, so it's kind of sort of a thing. So if you don't get the V word for the sea illness, then you don't get to go to events. You might not get into bigger gatherings even within your family. You won't be able to get on the airplane, and yeah, you kind of get cast out of the society in a way. A little bit. There's still discussion, like if people who don't have the V word, they can basically go and separate themselves from the rest of the people. This is also another censored word that I'm describing. Basically that, you arrive somewhere and you have to go and lock yourself into a house for 14 days and avoid all people, right? And then you can start enjoying your vacation. So that is one thing. I don't think that this is the final mark of the beast, but it's definitely showing the signs of overall tendency. It's kind of like the idea is there, but this is, how you have software 1.0, 2.0. So this is definitely 1.0 messing with the idea of the mark of the beast. So some people are also talking about on the internet that there are some patterns for the V word, that when people get it, that the area where they got it, it becomes scannable. I'm not sure if that is true, but I think that is just like a pattern, and it's not yet something that is being used on. But that would be something interesting, because that is something where you can put any information and somebody just says, yeah, you have to just scan it, and that. I mean, probably it's not going to be on your face, on your forehead, like in the Bible they say, but it might as well be on your hand or on your shoulder. So then there is the idea, I feel like we're not there yet. Sure, granted, 2021 is a 5-year in numerology, and 5 stands for change, for unexpected things happening, for also, a year where there can be a lot of accidents and unexpected things in general, right? It's like unsettling. It's kind of like shaking up the whole system. So it's right now April. We don't know yet what's going to happen the rest of the year, but as of now, there have not been really huge earthquakes, or what the Bible describes in the book of Revelation in connection with the mark of the beast times, is that there are going to be mountains moving and rocks falling. So that is kind of like a major earthquake happening on a rather larger scale. So I find that that is another thing that indicates that this is not the final version of the mark of the beast. And then I'm thinking about this, very interesting. I read yesterday an article where they were saying that people in Israel who had gotten the V word, some of them, were kind of like a test group for what there might be, issues with this again, I'm censoring myself. You know, when you take the V word, and many people have major issues and less major issues. So, and they discovered that they have this major issue of having a herpes breakout on their skin and kind of like all over the body. And that actually I found very interesting, because in the Bible, when they talk about mark of the beast, then they're talking about the boils and sores all over the body, which are going to be very painful for those who have it, and they would not be able to really get rid of them. So, and well, herpes is something which like, you know, herpes type 1, when somebody gets it, it's kind of all herpes you get for life, and 70% of people have herpes 1, and usually it doesn't affect the entire body, but there's like some sort of like an expression, like a symptom of it that people get. It's like red. You can look it up on the internet. I think like New York Post or something like that was writing, like BBC, yeah. So you can check it out and see what I mean. And I find it's very interesting, because there are going to be, apparently, as per Bible, you know, issues with the skin for people who get the V word. So yeah, these are my thoughts about it. I find it very interesting musings. I'm definitely not taking the V word, as it looks very much like the mark of the beast, and just trying to figure out how to live the life as a pariah of society, I guess. And, you know, quite honestly, I don't really care. As they say, my body, my choice. Or as Eric Cartman says in South Park, it's my hot body. I do what I want. All right? So yeah, I need that kind of t-shirt. All right, guys, that's about all. Make sure that you subscribe to my channel, click the bell notification, like this video, share it, and leave your comments what you think about it. And that's about all. I'll see you in the next video. Cheers!